All right, good morning. How is everybody this morning? Good. So we might have some inclement weather this weekend. Today doesn't look too bad. So everybody be safe and sound this weekend. Next week's gonna be kind of peaks and valleys again. Temperatures looks decent, but remember that slip and fall, the ice, there's a lot of potential. And so we really need to focus on home life and here at work, just maintain it. There's been a lot of slip and trips, a lot of close encounters, near misses, even myself at home to people here at work. So just really stay focused on getting treatment down so you can remove the ice so you don't slip and fall. We had someone slip and fall yesterday that had spikes on and everything. That's just, the nature of the work and everything. So it's very important. Just you see the ice, let's try to eliminate as best we can and do your best, because it's definitely the potential is there. So this week's code of conduct is to respect the property of others. Very important, from utility owners that we work in and around. We'll make sure we just a courtesy call saying, hey, we covered an abandoned utility, before we know that it's abandoned, whatever it is, that we make that call, we get the awareness with before we do any damage. Same thing with property owners, adjacent property owners to projects and things. Just, be courteous and polite and try to answer their question if you can. If you cannot, just say, hey, I'll get back to you, or guide them to whoever is kind of in charge of the project. So just, we are constantly around other people's property, so we just need to be very respectful in those situations. So right now we've got another 7 days. We're at 83. We're hoping for the best after the slip and fall last week, that it's going to maintain first aid, but time will tell. As swelling goes down, and more tests will be conducted. So we'll see how that goes. We're tracking that in real time. So I wanted to kind of kick off this meeting from February, March, April. We have to post our 300-day logs. So I kind of wanted, it was a good time now to just have a quick announcement where we're going to be posting these. This is a requirement from OSHA that we have to supply this information to the workforce, to everybody that works for engineers construction. You have to do it when you have 10 or more employees. We have way more than that. You have to report anything that to OSHA that's anything more than a minor kind of first aid related injury. Anything greater than kind of that first aid treatment will have to go on the OSHA logs. So this information is important for us at ECI because it helps us track trends, see what's kind of going on with the injuries. Are they very similar? Can we identify a pattern and then really throw in some new procedures or safe work practices that go along to try to help us reduce our exposures out there. So it's a very important tool, something that we use very frequently. And like I said before, we must report it to everybody February through April. They're pretty much always going to be wherever our job posters are going to be. So the one we'll have that the 300 days already there. It's already posted. I posted it yesterday afternoon. We'll have one in operations, one up in admin in the front building there. So it'll be readily available. And this is what it looks like. It's a little blurry. I was trying to make it a little bit clearer yesterday. But you can see here we had a total of 4 recordable injuries in 2019. We had 2 cases where there were actually lost work cases, and then we had 2 just other injuries that were just more than first aid, but were able to maintain their status of their task here at engineers construction. So 81 days of total days away from work, and then 75 of restriction duty types of days of working. So total of 4. And it's nice with this is we can kind of compare ourselves with this North American industrial classification that we have, so we can kind of see where we're at engineers construction, and then it's very similar companies to us throughout the United States. And that's my next slide. There's also how many average number of employees that we had and our total man hours we worked. So we worked 3,451.
3,000. 340,000.
340,000. I'll just leave it at that.
340,000.
340,000, which was quite an uptick from 2018 to 2019. So that's a lot of man hours, a lot of exposure. To only have 4 recordables, that's a nice job, guys. Really nice job. So that's going to be posted. And then to kind of go back on where we were in 2019, our injury rate was a 2.35. The construction average with the same kind of classification that we're in was a 3.0. So we did a little bit better than the average, than our average type of similar type of construction work that we do with the heavy civil type of work. So
Those are like a standard dump system.
standard system. So what you do is you take how many OSHA recordables you had, you multiply it by 200,000 divided by your man hours, you get that number.
But I thought the construction average was higher for our kind of work, though.
It's been coming down.
It come down.
Yeah, everybody's coming down. We're working safer out there, which is great. We was 5 like 3 years,
Right, that's
3
what-
years ago. It was about 5, and everybody's been kicking down, which has been great.
Is it better than last year's?
We actually went up just a little bit from last year. From 18 to 19, we went up just a little bit. We were like a 2.0, and now we're at 2.35. So we had a little bit of an uptick. So, any questions? So take a look at that. Any other questions regarding any OSHA logs? I know we've been talking a lot about the OSHA 10s, and that kind of it's important stuff. And you always have rights as employees to like see this information. You know, it's part of the right that you have under the OSHA Act. So, with that said, I'll pass over to Ken.
So that's kind of like the average. If you took every company and normalize them to 100 employees.
Correct.
That's the number of injuries you'd had, because we're
Yeah.
like 100 and depends on the time of year, but it's called 150. So we're like our number of injuries would be that 2.35 times 1.5, which is about where we were talking about for total injuries.
Yep.
So PT 360 is on site Valentine's Day. Okay. And for this week, we're profiling the horizontal directional drilling project for Green Mountain Power. And we're contracted with GMP for the installation of new power transmission lines coming out of the airport substation that we worked on last year. And the work is done with a combination of open excavation and directional drilling methods. And the project's underway, and when completed will include the installation of 7 K35.5 volt vaults, underground vaults, and the pre-packed vaults and covers weigh in excess of 30,000 pounds. There's some issues about putting them in, challenges, I should say. The original plan is intended to install one of the 7 as a forward-in-place vault to result in the overhead power lines, making it impossible to get a large enough lift excavator or crane in there. So a total of 8,500 linear feet of the 4 French feet of 6-inch PE pipe and 7,400 of the 2-inch HDPE pipe, we should say conduit maybe, will be installed by the special drilling method, and this work will terminate at the South Burlington Airport Parkway sewer treatment plant, and I'll show you in a second, and then the National Guard at NCO Drive. So let's see, there you can see the airport. North of the top of the page, there's the old landfill with the solar on it. So the wastewater plant's right here. Our Drive here, there's our property, and the substation's right here. It's in yellow. It's kind of hard to see. It's a little washed out. So it runs down along Airport Parkway to the wastewater plant, and then also along the road on the backside of the airport until we get to NCO Drive, which is that intersection with the little housing residential development over there, with several vaults along the way. So the project demands working in the vicinity of 2 Vermont gas lines and 3 sewer force mains and some 3 fiber duct banks and an 8-inch AC main, water main, and water services, of course. So a lot of utilities in this area, which makes it challenging and requires a lot of potholing and where everything is and where we're going to put the conduit. Here we are, we're running, obviously using the 3020 and fusing pipe. There's a substation in the background, still under construction by the above ground guys. And more fusing. Good load of pipe there, or conduit. And that looks like, yeah, the big helicopter hangar with the opening, that window opening on the side of the building. And another shot in that same area, I'd say. And you can see some of a lot of utilities through here. Those sides are already occupied. Like communication and gas in there. And potholing shots. And lining the bottom of a pit. Currently for the vault. Then the archives we have, this is cable plowing, obviously going on with the old I-100, one of them. And I can't tell you where that is. That's Joe DiMartino. That's Howard Perizzo. Lockerbie's in there. Can't tell who that is. Must be an inspector or something. But this company started doing a lot of that. That's how. Yeah, where's our hard hats?
We got a disclaimer, Ken.
Yeah, disclaimer. Where is it? Yeah, I'll read it here.
It's cool to see that.
Sometimes from a previous era when safety standards were different. Endorse all this. So, okay, all right, well, have a safe day out there, and good luck with your team in the Super Bowl. Ryan Martell.